Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Soul Shift Messages. If you found your way here, trust there's something in this message for you. Understand this space is about growth, truth, and transformation. We don't bypass here, we don't sugarcoat, and not every message will feel comfortable, but it will be honest. I speak in flow, and that sometimes includes cussing. It's just part of how the messages come through. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and trust your own discernment above all else. Take a deep breath, and let's begin. If you are new to this space, please know at this time I create weekly content in 3 parts. Part 1 focuses on what needs to be revealed. Part 2 focuses on what needs to be understood. And Part 3 focuses on what needs to be done. Essentially, what do we need to embody in order to bring about the changes we want to see based on the topic that we're talking about. So, depending on when you see this video, you will either find all available links to content in the description box below, or you'll see dates on when to expect said content. And I am very diligent about going back and updating those links as the new content becomes available. So if it's not there yet, it's coming. Just give it some time. All right. So I say all of that to say this is going to be part 1 for this week. And this week's topic is love. And before I even get into the message, they want me to, I would say the word is encourage. Encourage, some people hear love and they automatically jump to romantic love. And that's perfectly valid, right? Because for a lot of us, romantic love is an important aspect of this experience. But I just keep hearing universal love, universal love. So I think it really feels like you're guided to look at love holistically, not just romantically, right? We can love our family, we can love our friends. I am hearing pets. Heck yes, we can love our pets. So it's really even the goal of this message is gonna be to really broaden. It's going to talk about love in a broad sense. And that's how it's intended to be received. Obviously, you can receive it however you want to, but they just want me to be clear. This is about love as a whole. This is not, they're saying no slice and dice. Yeah, this is no slice and dice. This is looking at love holistically. Universal love. That's it. Okay. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. The fundamental, before I forget, the title of this message is What Love Actually Is. All right. So back to it. The fundamental nature of love. Most people think of love as an emotion. This message presents love as something much deeper. Love is not primarily a feeling. Love is a way of seeing. Love is the ability to perceive yourself and another person clearly, honestly, and completely. Love is recognition, understanding, and awareness. Love is the ability to fully acknowledge another person's humanity without needing to possess them, change them, consume them, fix them, diminish them, control them, or lose yourself within them. Feelings change, attraction changes, desire changes, excitement changes, and emotions rise and fall. Love remains rooted in the quality of perception. The clearer the perception, the deeper the capacity for love. And I'm hearing genuine love, unconditional love. Unconditional love has nothing tied to it. That's really what we're going to be talking about. All right, from this perspective, love is not merely an experience between two people. Love becomes a quality of consciousness itself. Love is not the goal, truth is. One of the deepest teachings is that most people believe they are searching for love when they may actually be searching for truth. Most people ask, how do I find love? The deeper question becomes, what prevents me from seeing clearly? Because whatever distorts perception also distorts love. Again, love is clear seeing, clear perception. The more clear your perception, the more you have the capacity to love. They want that well established. This is not going to be your typical love reading. Okay? All right. Again, because whatever distorts perception also distorts love. Fear distorts. Fear distorts love. Projection distorts love. Fantasy distorts love. Control distorts love. And unhealed wounds distort love. This message suggests love emerges naturally when reality is no longer resisted. The goal is not to chase love. The goal is to see clearly. When clear seeing emerges, love naturally follows. Love is a journey from distortion to awareness. Love begins as something pure and life-giving. As it passes through fear, insecurity, unmet needs, wounds, and inherited beliefs, it becomes distorted. The journey being described is moving from confusion to clarity, from unconsciousness to awareness, from illusion to reality, from fear to trust, from possession to freedom, from dependency to wholeness, from self-abandonment to self-respect, from projection to recognition, and from distortion to conscious love. The purpose is not perfection. The purpose is awareness. All right? Conscious love emerges when people become honest enough to recognize what is actually operating inside them. Again, once we become aware, I've talked about it before, but for those who are new or need the refresher, when we recognize and become aware we have certain things running in our energy, running in our system, we, instead of feeling fear or shame or blame or any of that type of energy, it's really, my intention is that it actually makes you feel empowered to recognize it and be able to move through it. That's why I have this 3-part system to my content. It's not just here's what it is, here's how it works, and I say better luck next time. No, part 3 is crucial. If you're interested in taking it that far, part 3 focuses on what do we need to actually move through it, right? Because once we become aware, it becomes a choice as to whether we keep that running or not. And again, this content is really about making informed decisions and taking it as far as you're ready to in that moment. Or, if you're not ready in that moment, the content will still be there. You can always come back when you are. But again, that's really the point of the three-part system, is to actually help you really understand what you're working with and take the steps to essentially deprogram it and have something healthier and more enjoyable take its place. All right, let's keep it moving. Love is an invitation into reality. Many people believe love helps them escape reality. This message suggests the opposite. Love brings people deeper into reality. Love reveals who you are, what you fear, what you avoid, what remains unhealed, what remains unconscious, and what beliefs govern your relationships. This is why love can feel both beautiful and painful. Love illuminates, and whatever becomes illuminated becomes visible, including parts of ourselves we may prefer not to see. Love is not merely comfort. Love is revelation. We're going to dive into that more later on. All right? So if that doesn't quite make sense to you, don't worry. We're going to break it down, okay? Relationships function as a mirror. Relationships do not create consciousness. They reveal it. Relationships expose what already exists beneath the surface. Possessiveness reveals fear. Jealousy reveals insecurity. Control reveals distrust. And dependency reveals emptiness. Likewise, compassion reveals wisdom. Trust reveals security. Acceptance reveals wholeness. And freedom reveals confidence. Relationships become mirrors reflecting the state of our inner world. This means relationships are not only opportunities to love, they are opportunities to know yourself. The difference between love and need. One of the strongest themes is that many things people call love are actually forms of need. Need can feel intense, passionate, urgent, romantic, and consuming. Yet need and love are fundamentally different. This message separates love from dependency, obsession, possessiveness, emotional hunger, validation seeking, fear of abandonment, and addiction to another person's presence. Many relationships become attempts to fill an internal emptiness. When this happens, The relationship becomes less about appreciating another person and more about using them to regulate emotional pain. The other person becomes a source of validation, security, identity, and self-worth. This message warns that this is not love. Say it again. This message warns that this is not love. It is consumption disguised as love. The greatest obstacle to love is projection. Projection appears beneath many forms of suffering. Projection happens whenever someone sees their fears instead of another person, their fantasies instead of another person, their hopes instead of another person, their wounds instead of another person, and their expectations instead of another person. Projection creates the illusion of connection. They're saying emphasis on illusion. Projection creates the illusion of connection. But genuine connection becomes impossible because the real person is no longer being seen. And they're just saying that's not up for debate. One more time. But genuine connection becomes impossible because the real person is no longer being seen. The painful implication is many relationships involve people interacting with mental images. That's those projections. Again, people interacting with mental images rather than actual human beings. They're saying you're seeing what you want to see, not what is actually there. And they want me to reiterate again, if this is resonating with you, this is not about blame. This is not about shame. This is about awareness. They're saying this is your invitation to true, genuine, authentic, unconditional love if you are interested in it. There is, and this is not a channel, this is my observation, it is crazy the amount of distortion down here in this experience around love. I'm not going to lie, for me, it's borderline sickening. Because once you hit a certain point and you can really start to see it, you're just like, oh my gosh, like just when you think like that may be the worst of it. No, unfortunately, I end up seeing like a different layer or different aspect of it, and it's just crazy. And again, I don't hold it against these people. We just don't know what we don't know, and we do the best we can with what we have and what we know. But that is part of the reason why I really wanted to do this series. Because we all deserve this beautiful type of love. They're saying that is available. That is, I'm literally hearing it's waiting for you. It is waiting for you. All right. This message suggests that genuine love begins where projection ends. Love begins when reality becomes more important than fantasy. You cannot have love if you do not actually see the person you are with. And again, that can be family, it can be friends, it can obviously be romantic. Someone really loves their pets, and I'm here for this shit. Pets keeps coming through. You can absolutely love your pets. And I am not, oh shit, that's why it came through. Ooh. Give me a second. I gotta pull that down and ground it. I'm gonna honor it because I just know they're gonna make my ass uncomfortable if I try to change this. So, for some of you who like really, really love your pets, I'm literally hearing like I would do anything for you. I'm gonna say it. Here we go. And don't come for me in the comments. I block first, I ask for forgiveness later, and I sleep just fine. All right. But I'm just hearing some of you are better at genuine and unconditional love with your pets than you are with your partners. They actually want you to like look at the way you love and care for your pets and like compare that to how you care for your partner because they're like, yeah, that pet, like, that's closer than what you're doing with that person. Damn. I'm gonna drink some water. And they're saying if that bothers you in any way, shape, or form, because I felt that. And by the way, that's a projection. Um, yeah, they're saying if that bothers you in any way, shape, or form, look at that. That was intended to bother you and hit you energetically for a reason. They're actually saying sit with that. Look at that. Alrighty. All right. Love is not possession. A major revelation concerns the difference between connection and ownership. Love connects, possession claims. Love appreciates, possession controls. Love nurtures, possession restricts. Love encourages individuality, possession demands conformity. Many people mistake attachment for love because attachment often feels intense, but intensity is not proof of love. I'm hearing don't let your emotions fully run the show when it comes to love. That is the purpose of that is the purpose of this series. We're gonna put throughout this series, by the time we get to part 3, I'm gonna walk you through how to basically put your emotions at the level they're actually supposed to be when it comes to love. Again, your emotions are not meant to run the show when it comes to love. I'm going to reseat them where they belong. Hot damn. All right. This message suggests a different question. Does this preserve freedom? Healthy love allows growth, change, movement, authenticity, individuality, and self-expression. Possession fears these things because possession fears losing control. Love liberates. Possession confines. The shadow of control. Beneath many relationship struggles lies fear. Fear often disguises itself as control. Control can appear as jealousy, manipulation, possessiveness, emotional pressure, resentment, and excessive expectations. People often believe they are protecting love when they attempt to control it. This message suggests the opposite. Control is fear wearing the mask of love. Say it again. Control is fear wearing the mask of love. They just said, call it what it really is. And I want to be very clear. They're really standing on business today. Damn. Not just with you, with me too. So we're in this together. But they're just saying, even if you don't like it, it doesn't mean it's not true. This message is not about you liking it. They're making that very clear. Some of you, this message is going to make you very uncomfortable. And again, if it does, or any aspect of it does, that's where you need to drill in. All right? Take a look at that. Because they're like, you may react to me, but you're not actually reacting to me. I'm just bringing things to your awareness that you need to address. In this case, I am in some ways, ooh, shit. In some ways, I am the mirror for you. And I am the mirror that's going to try to walk you back into genuine love. Alrighty. All right. Fear seeks certainty. Love accepts uncertainty. Fear seeks ownership. Love seeks connection. The more conscious love becomes, the less control it requires. Freedom is part of love. Freedom is not the opposite of commitment. Freedom is part of healthy commitment. Freedom means remaining fully yourself, continuing to grow, continuing to evolve, and expressing your authentic nature. Commitment without freedom becomes captivity. Someone needs to hear that again. Commitment without freedom becomes captivity. And I'm hearing some of you feel real fucking trapped in your relationships. And you just didn't know why. I just gave some of you the words. You can pause this video if you need time to process that, all right? Honor your pace. All right, freedom without commitments becomes avoidance. Healthy love holds both. Two people remain fully themselves while consciously choosing one another. Say it again and louder. All right. Healthy love holds both. Two people remain fully themselves. Fully themselves. I'm talking true, authentic selves, while consciously choosing one another. They're being clear as day. If that is not the case, it is not healthy love. They are really sick of this fake shit. Alrighty, let's keep it moving. Woo. Actually, y'all are making me hot. Damn. All right. Wish I had my hair clip. The danger of self-abandonment. Many people believe love requires sacrifice of self. They believe being loved means becoming what others want, suppressing their needs, ignoring their intuition, accepting mistreatment, and making themselves smaller. This message rejects this. Love does not require self-erasure, self-betrayal, nor shrinking. Whenever someone must abandon themselves to receive affection, approval, or belonging, something essential has already been lost. Healthy love supports the full existence of both people. All right. I don't like plugging my own shit, but they told me to do it, so I was guided this morning to create. I've done content before on healing certain wounds that are tied to self-abandonment. So I have created a playlist titled Self-Abandonment, and it essentially has all the topics with all the videos that I have created that talk about aspects or wounds tied to self-abandonment. And you can find that in the playlist tab. I believe it's also on my homepage. There's a number of videos in there, so if you feel called to it, you're not required to watch all of them. Trust your discernment. Watch the ones you're called to, or watch them all. I'll leave that up to you. But there is a playlist I put together for self-abandonment if someone is interested in exploring that more. Because if I'm being really honest, that is a very common wound in this experience, and one I've personally had to work through as well on my journey. So I know what that's like. I know what it takes. So I made that playlist and all that content with a lot of love. All right, let's get back into this. Self-worth, scarcity, and wholeness. Many people seek love from a place of emotional scarcity. They hope another person will provide meaning, worth, identity, security, validation, and completion. This creates unstable foundations. No relationship can permanently repair a lack of self-worth. No amount of affection can convince someone of their value if they fundamentally reject themselves. This leads to a profound distinction. Love entered from scarcity becomes grasping. Love entered from wholeness becomes sharing. People operating from hunger focus on what they can receive. People operating from wholeness focus on what they can create together. Love does not complete you. A particularly important teaching challenges the cultural myth of romantic completion. They said, punt that shit as far as you can kick it. And they said, they want me to tell you, I'm not joking. That came through clear as day. Punt that shit as far away as you can kick it. I'm here in the next galaxy will do. Y'all got jokes now. Trying to lighten the mood. Yeah, I hear ya. All right. Many people believe another person completes them. This message rejects that idea. People are not halves looking for other halves. People are whole beings learning how to relate. Say the second part again. People are whole beings learning how to relate. The belief that someone completes us often creates dependency, desperation, possessiveness, fear of loss, and self-abandonment. Healthy love emerges when two whole people choose connection, not when two incomplete people seek rescue. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but you need both people in whatever relationship that is to be committed to wholeness, to get to healthy love. If you are interested in it and you are seeking that and the other person is not, you cannot get to healthy love in that dynamic. They said someone absolutely needs to hear that. That's the illusion you need to shatter in love. That's it. Okay. Love is not an identity. Many people unconsciously build their identity around being loved, desired, wanted, chosen, and needed. This message challenges this. I heard don't believe the hype. Love is something to experience. It is not something upon which identity should depend. Babies, they're just saying anytime you build identity of any kind on external factors, they're saying that is an unstable foundation. They really want you to go within. And again, if you've watched previous videos of mine, the ultimate goal is to move from identity to essence. All right? Because identity can sometimes, if you're not aware, can lock you into roles that you may keep around for longer than have served their purpose. All right? But yeah, to start, they want you to focus inward when it comes to your identity. Any part of identity that is built upon external factors is an unstable foundation. They're showing me the Tower card, so maybe some of you are into tarot. It's okay if you're not. But they're just saying unstable foundation. They're showing me the Tower card, and they're saying unstable foundations at some point do crumble. Why? Because they weren't built to last. They're not healthy foundations. Healthy foundations last. Unstable foundations at some point do fall. All right. You are complete before a relationship. You remain complete during a relationship. And you remain complete after a relationship ends. Love enriches life, enriches it. It does not create personhood. They're saying it never will. It was never supposed to be. That's why they want you to put it down. The influence of wounds and conditioning. Many beliefs about love are inherited. And if that is not fully making sense, to put it in more layman terms, a lot of beliefs about love do not originate from you. They come from external factors, external systems. I'll get into it in a minute. But a lot of them are inherited. They did not come from you. Okay? People absorb them from family systems, childhood experiences, previous relationships, culture, society, and stories about romance. Examples include love requires suffering, jealousy proves love, possession proves commitment, sacrifice proves devotion, intensity proves compatibility, and love must be earned. This message suggests examining these beliefs carefully. Many originate from fear, pain, and misunderstanding rather than wisdom. All right? This is why individuation is really important. All right? And you can Google individuation if you want, but to put it very plainly, it just means when you really start thinking for yourself. You know, you don't just go with the flow. You don't follow what everyone else is doing. You don't just accept things as they come because everyone else is. They want you to really think about it. I don't know why, but it's coming through. Some of you need to actually sit and like dependent and listen, this is no shade to anybody, right? But no matter how far you get with this video, whether you watch it all the way or not, they're just saying, no matter how far you get with this video or even with this series, some of you need to honestly sit down and ask yourself if you can think of anyone in your experience who has a healthy love that's in alignment with this message. Because I know from my experience, when you really sit down and think about what true unconditional love is, you'd be very surprised how genuinely rare that is here. And it's not to say other people are bad people. You know, again, a lot of times we take these inherited beliefs and we just carry them with us. We don't think about them, but you're being challenged to do that. And I'm hearing some of you really don't want the type of love that you've been seeing in this experience. And they're saying, if that's you, hang in there. Again, I'm going to lay out all the parts this week. And they're just saying, take it as far as you want. But some of you, I'm just hearing somebody go, I am just so sick of this shit. And that's why you're guided to this video. Because at a deeper level, you have rejected what has been presented to you, and I'm here to help you gain insight and awareness on a different type of love. We are going so fucking deep with this, man. All right, here we go. Imagination versus fantasy. Imagination is healthy. It creates hope, vision, creativity, and possibility. Fantasy becomes harmful when it replaces reality. People often fall in love with potential expectations, projections, and idealized images rather than actual people. All right, that is that fantasy aspect. You're no longer looking at the actual person. Healthy love requires two abilities simultaneously: the ability to imagine possibility and the ability to see reality clearly. Without imagination, relationships become mechanical. Without reality, relationships become illusions. And again, they're saying if you didn't like that, look at it deeper. There is something there for you to explore. Truth is more important than comfort. This message repeatedly elevates truth above comfort. Many people choose comfort over truth, fantasy over truth, and attachment over truth. Truth protects love. Without truth, love becomes projection, performance, dependency, and illusion. Only truth allows genuine connection. You cannot have genuine connection if you are not seeing truth. If you are not seeing the actual person you are with, and you are not seeing clearly not only that person, but what that experience actually is. All right? Only truth allows genuine connection. And they said there is no other way to interpret that. That would be an illusion. Right? Two ways of responding to pain. Let's be honest, babies, we've all had painful experiences in love. Right? That's why we need to talk about this. And they said it's going to be important to know the distinction. All right? And if you are currently going through some heartbreak or some loss, I'm sending you my sincerest condolences, babies. Take your time with that. Process that, okay? Pain can move in two directions: a fear-based response and a wisdom-based response. In fear-based response, pain becomes anger, control, resentment, withdrawal, and defensiveness. In wisdom-based response, pain becomes compassion, understanding, reflection, growth, and insight. Conscious love transforms pain into wisdom rather than allowing it to become control. And they're just saying if you don't allow that pain to transform, it's going to naturally default to control. Why? Because to get to wisdom-based response, you have to be conscious of it. You have to make the decision that you are going to transmute that pain into wisdom as opposed to control. I'm just hearing the default is control. And they're saying if you don't believe that's true, look at your experience. They're saying it's just all around you. Genuinely look at the relationships around you. They're saying there is, and again, they're saying this is not a critique. They really want you to perceive clearly. They're just saying, open your eyes, because once you, this is some, this is, there's, there's always, there's always two sides to the same coin, for better or for worse. Once you really start clocking this stuff and seeing it for what it is, you cannot unsee it. And you will see just how prolific it really is. But they said, for some of you, seeing is believing. And I'm hearing your team say, don't worry about it. We got you. um, but yeah, it's just the awareness. They want you to be aware so you can make an informed based decision for yourself. They said this is not about convincing others of what you see. Some people are happy or have accepted their positions, with where they're at in their life, and they're saying, leave them alone. You really you don't have to do all that. I don't know who that's for, but that came through. But again, they're just saying, you're being given a choice. That's really what it comes down to. If you're watching this, you're being given a choice, and you can choose whatever you want. Okay? Love cannot be won. Love is not a trophy, an achievement, a reward, a status symbol, or proof of worth. Babies, they're also saying love is not a milestone. There's a genuine caution against buying heavily into societal based milestones. And I'm gonna deliver this how it's coming through. All right, because this is not mine to touch and tamper with. So just know that. All right. But they're just saying, the way we they're just saying the way we put pressure on ourselves to meet certain societal milestones is just unnecessary, right? Get married, have kids, all that kind of stuff, right? They're just you don't have to, they're arbitrary milestones. Some of you, they don't even mean anything to you. Some of you are not actually interested in marriage. Some of you are not interested in having kids, and they're saying for those people, they're saying stand in your truth. All right? Because they're just saying you don't need those for love. Those aren't requirements. Those are societal things. All right? So I don't know why that's coming through. I mean, I've gotten that in my experience. Like, I'm 35. I've never been married, and I don't have kids, and I don't really care if or when I get married. Same thing with kids. They're really just like, stay focused on the next step in your journey. They're just like, if you're interested in those things, they'll come, right? So let me give you a personal example. Again, not to insert myself into this, but that didn't quite land clearly for someone. So like when I say if or when I get married, and I'm not really concerned about having kids. Why? Because to me, those aren't the end goals, right? Because if I'm focused on I need to get married and have kids, there's a lot of important steps in between those milestones that need to occur first. And I don't want to be so focused on like, this is my end goal that I'm just going to look past a whole bunch of shit in between those two things. So for me, I'm more focused on meeting someone I like, right? Because is that not the next logical step, right? I'm doing my healing, I'm working through my things, but how am I supposed to get married if I don't actually find someone I like, right? So the goal is to meet someone I like, really make sure when I meet that person, depending on how serious it gets, right? Make sure we talk about values, morals, right? Is marriage even important to you? Do you actually want kids? For me, it's how do you feel about dogs? Because if you're like, I don't like dogs, guess what? We're ending it there. Just because that's very important to me. And things like that. So that's really where I'm focusing. And yes, this is my way of saying your girl is trying to get a date. I am. Why? Because that just makes sense, you know? Because again, for me personally, I'm pretty open about things. So if I genuinely meet the love of my life, he's like, I'm not interested in marriage, you know, and I don't really care about kids. Well, guess what? I remember my past lives. I've been a mother multiple times in past lives. So it's like, you know what? From my perspective, just me being me, you know, again, if I didn't have that experience in this lifetime, I already know I'm not missing out on something. And that's just how I function, right? But again, that's my perspective. And some of you maybe need that. But again, I'm just saying, if you go through this process, you will be supported. So let's say marriage and kids are important to you. Again, if you're interested in finding this genuine, healthy love, I'm just hearing you will have the support to meet those end goals. But there is some process that needs to be worked so that you can get there. Why? Because honestly, babies, a lot of people are in the unhealthy love category. They just are, and they just don't know better. And that's okay. So you just need to trust this process and trust that the support you'll have from whatever you believe, right? The universe, source, your spirit guides, your ancestors, like they're just saying, if you take this journey, the support will be there. They're not going to guarantee. They said it sure shit is not coming overnight. You got more work to do than that. But they just trust them that things are going to line up and that they're going to work out and that you're going to have the experience that you're looking for, that you were meant to have. So again, there's just this caution of like, it's just like, what is the actual rush? Because they're saying that in and of itself is an illusion. You've plenty of time. Plenty of time. All right? Okay. So, yeah, love does not create value. Love recognizes value that already exists. A person's worth exists before they are loved, and it remains after they are rejected. Love as stewardship rather than ownership. Love is presented as stewardship. A steward does not own. A steward cares for, protects, supports, nurtures, and respects. Control says, you belong to me. Love says, you are valuable, and I want to support your flourishing. Love is a creative force. Every relationship is constantly creating something. Healthy love creates growth, vitality, expansion, possibility, and flourishing. Distorted love creates dependency, stagnation, fear, constriction, and diminishment. The question becomes, what is this form of love creating? The answer reveals its quality. And they said if you lie to yourself, the only one that you are shortcutting is yourself. Love is measured by expansion. A recurring pattern appears throughout this message. Healthy love expands awareness, freedom, authenticity, truth, possibility, and life itself. Unhealthy love contracts freedom, growth, authenticity, and vitality. A simple test emerges. What is expanding? If freedom, truth, life, and awareness are expanding, love is likely present. If fear, limitation, and contraction are expanding, something else is operating. Aliveness matters more than comfort. Love certainly provides comfort, but comfort is not its highest priority. All right? Comfort seeks stability, aliveness seeks growth. Comfort seeks certainty, aliveness accepts uncertainty. The deeper question becomes, does this make me more alive? Conscious love requires participation. Love is not passive. Love is not merely a feeling that happens. Conscious love requires awareness, honesty, courage, responsibility, self-examination, and choice. Love becomes a practice. Again and again, it asks people to choose truth over illusion, understanding over projection, freedom over control, and growth over comfort. Conscious love requires integration. The goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness. Fear will still exist. Desire will still exist. And attachment will still exist. The difference is they are no longer unconscious. The healthiest people are not those without shadows. They are those who recognize their shadows before those shadows begin controlling their lives. If you are aware with shadow integration, yes, that is exactly what this is talking about. And how do you start addressing and integrating your shadow? Awareness. All right. Love includes reverence. One of the deepest layers is reverence. Reverence means recognizing value that exists independently of personal benefit. It asks not, how can this person serve my needs, but how can I honor what is alive within this person? This creates humility, respect, gratitude, and care. Relationships are not just about you. They involve other people, and they're saying you have to acknowledge that aspect. If you go into relationships just looking at it from what can I get from this? What can I get from this person? How do I benefit? They said you are already in unhealthy territory. And again, to get to healthy love, whatever form that is, both people need to be committed to that mindset. This is why, if you watch the trust series, this is why the realignments are happening, because the ones who are doing this work are going to be paired together. For some of them, that's not the only way they're getting rewarded for that work, but that is one of the ways that is going to manifest for them. Take that if it resonates. If you haven't been doing the work, they're making it very clear that ain't for you. Not at this time. All right? You want to get on that bandwagon? They said do the work. All right? The deepest shadow is objectification. Nearly every unhealthy pattern can be traced back to one root: objectification. Objectification happens whenever another person becomes a possession, a source of validation, a solution to loneliness, a fantasy figure, a status symbol, or a means to an end. The moment someone becomes an object rather than a person, love begins to disappear. Control, possession, and projection is objectification. Dependency often becomes objectification. Love restores humanity. The highest purpose of love. The purpose of love is not ownership, validation, escaping loneliness, completion, or emotional dependency. The purpose of love is mutual flourishing. Healthy love helps people become more alive, free, truthful, aware, authentic, and more fully themselves. Love becomes a catalyst for growth. Some of you are trying to make a decision about a person, and they just have a very simple question they want you to ask yourself. If you, and again, there are some assumptions, but they're telling me this is the right question, so I'm gonna honor that because I'm not about to fuck around and find out over here. The question is, if you showed your authentic self to this person, would they still be with you? I'm hearing goofy. I'm hearing some of you are really goofy and you don't feel like you can be goofy with the person you're in a relationship with. Babies, they're saying that's not a red flag. That's the whole fucking red flag. I don't know who that's for. How are you supposed to be your authentic self if you can't be goofy with your partner? I'm gonna goof the shit out of my partner. Listen, by the time, like if marriage is on the table, by the time he proposes, he is gonna know you can't take yourself too seriously and be with me. That is genuinely, energetically incompatible. I'm gonna goof your ass. I'll be mindful about location, but like if we're just at home, it's fair game, bitch. Fair game. All right? And I can receive that just as well as I can dish it. Why? Because that's reciprocal. All right? But that's the question. If you showed this person who you genuinely, authentically were, would they still be with you? That's your question. All right? The recognition of shared humanity. At the deepest level, love becomes recognition, not recognition of similarity, recognition of shared humanity. The same fears, the same hopes, the same vulnerability, the same longing to be seen. I'm hearing, and be seen as you truly are. The same desire to flourish. Love becomes, I recognize your humanity and I want it to thrive. The ultimate measure of love. All of these teachings ultimately lead to one question. What does your presence allow another person to become? Because this is not just, does your partner allow this for you? Reciprocate. Do you allow your partner to be who they truly are too? All right. Again, this is about two whole beings creating something. And you both must be committed to creating the same thing. All right. Love is not measured by intensity, possession, obsession, sacrifice, or dependency. Love is measured by its effects. Does it create freedom or dependency, growth or stagnation, truth or performance, wholeness or self-abandonment, vitality or diminishment? The deepest conclusion is this: the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is objectification. Love is the recognition and honoring of another person's humanity. Love protects freedom. Love encourages growth. Love honors truth. Love supports authenticity. Love increases life. And at the deepest level, love is not something added to life. It is not something added to life. It is what naturally emerges when illusion, fear, projection, control, and separation no longer stand between one conscious being and another. All right, that's all I had, babies, and they told me to end it there. All right, so I will be back later this week with parts 2 and 3, what needs to be understood and what needs to be done. If this message resonated with you, feel free to tune into those parts when you're ready. And if you're not, that's totally fine too. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. So take care of yourselves, beautiful beings. Until next time, bye.